Is that everything?
So what has 1980s James Bond, Stallone eating a pizza with gloves on, the US Special Forces, the latest Call of Duty game, the best affordable iconic Swiss watches, and surfing bank robbers have to do with each other? Well, today I unbox and share a forgotten lost gem that was still assembled in a good old US of A that I scored for just over $400.
Execute.
That ultimately tells a fascinating story that connects all of this, that's never been shared on YouTube or online before, that you will only find here, along with a shocking plot twist. So before we roll the intro, don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you haven't, and most importantly, please add your thoughts in the comments at the end of this video. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. I'll start off with a wristwatch check. If you don't know how important this watch is, yeah, you need to watch this video. The most important video I'll ever make, certainly. I'm still very much in grieving, and you know what? I'm not going to talk about it too much. Just watch that video. I'm just so glad she got to see it in time. So, grazie mamma. Ti amo sempre. Now, before we get into this, I've got to say a massive thank you to Hamilton for so graciously sponsoring the production of this video. The production only, all opinions are my own, and in fact, actually, this purchase is with my own money as well. And you know what? Let's just get into it because I think the proof is in the pudding. When it comes to Swiss-made dive watches, Hamilton isn't exactly the first brand you automatically think of, and there's several very deliberate reasons why. Firstly is a clue in the naming of their contemporary offerings, the Khaki Navy Divers, an offshoot of arguably their most revered and storied family of watches, the Khaki Collection. I did, and forgive the serendipitous pun, a deep dive on it recently to contextualize one of the most important releases of 2025, the new Power Reserve variant of their classic Khaki Mechanical. So do check it out if you missed it. Now at first you might think this is a rather strange decision. Why put ocean-going timepieces in the same family that are so synonymous with land-based operations? Well, as always, context is king. You see, Hamilton produced for the US Navy during World War II watches with specially modified canteen-style crowns, added to up their water resistance. Now you have to remember this was over a decade before the emergence of professional dive watches as we know them today. In fact, some even go so far as to controversially claim that these A11 based field watches with a screw down cap to the crown were in fact the first mass produced watches intended for diving. But I will humbly refrain from getting into that discussion.
Look, those idiots don't even know where we live. No!
So douse your torches and save your pitchforks for another day. This also explains why many of Hamilton's modern divers feature less typical locking mechanisms on the crown, like the Khaki Navy Frogman, for example. Many just erroneously say they're trying to copy Panerai, but not at all. This actually makes them stand out from the somewhat cookie-cutter wannabe Submariner crowd, but justifiably references their own pre-diver watch legacy. The second big reason Hamilton is kind of overlooked in the diving genre is their successful dominance of the mil-spec. Aside from a brief flirtation with an ESPA case-based supercompressor for the civilian market during the 1960s, Hamilton seldom ventured far from their own bread and butter. This was mainly simply out of necessity to fulfill large military contracts, the biggest of which was over 1 million timepieces during World War II, then Korea, Vietnam, and overseas clients like 40,000 watches for the British military alone from 1965 to 1976. I think it's very much an oversimplification just to blame the quartz crisis for this period. It was a two-fronted attack, a cluster F-bomb Hamilton certainly weren't expecting, but caught them off guard at a moment of industry-wide weakness. The timing, ironically, couldn't have been worse.
Some time ago, you became a member of the Hamilton family. At that time, we were all sure of a long, happy, prosperous association working together.
To cut a long, convoluted story short, colossal mismanagement combined with several disastrous government contracts that went belly up, causing Hamilton to operate at a loss during the worst possible moment in horological history. You see, Hamilton, like many other American powerhouse watchmakers, had diversified beyond horology into related fields of micro-mechanical manufacturing. Remember Bulliver producing Actron technology for satellites and the CIA spy planes, or Timex making timing fuses in munitions? Well, Hamilton also had its fingers in other profitable apple pies too. And this tumultuous period explains many of the bizarre and inconsistent designs. Like so many other brands, it resulted in endless homage watches to make a quick buck, like the wannabe Patek World Timer I once owned, or even perfunctory clones of the Rolex Submariner as well. And then there's also the jumping on of any hot watch trend of the moment. And this is where none other than Bond, James Bond, enters the story, or I should say parachutes into it, with his Tag Heuer 1000 for the Living Daylights in 1987.
I'll report in an hour.
Won't you join me?
Better make that 2.
In the very same year, a similar tag to 007's Night Diver, also in PVD but without the luminous dial, was worn in a movie adaptation of The Fourth Protocol, interestingly by a pre-007 Pierce Brosnan, no less.
As chairman of the KGB, I am giving you a direct order.
2 professionals. The KGB's best deep cover agent is coming west. Britain's best spy catcher senses danger.
And let's not forget to mention the similar but previous Heuer 2000 worn by Stallone as Cobretti, an inexplicably pizza-eating with gloves on, pugnacious, uber-cool cop in the highly underrated but lovable schlockfest Cobra from 1986.
By the power of Grayskull. Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
5 minutes later.
This trend, both on and off screen, for compact-sized Swiss quartz-based heritage brand divers continued into the early 90s, with perhaps the most iconic Tag 1000 moment on the wrist of Keanu Reeves in the cult classic Point Break.
Nice one, Doris.
Nothing like a bit of girl on girl.
You can clearly spot it during that unforgettable scene as he shoots into the sky, homaged, in the best possible sense of the word, by the comedic capolavoro Hot Fuzz in 2007. In turn, Hamilton, just like we're seeing today with their industry-leading foray into historic video game franchises, had yet another hold my beer meme moment of design genius, with the creation of this highly overlooked response to the trend that we are unboxing today.
You're a doctor. Deal with it.
Yeah, mother.
Very quick knife check. I have the Lion Steel made in Italy, in northern Italy where I grew up. Now this comes from Japan. This was a bit of a gamble. The listing wasn't too good, but because of its rarity, I think could be quite interesting. There's the actual box. I don't think this is the original box, no. Drum roll. Da, 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 da. Wow, okay. Oh, nice and thin, because of course it is quartz. PVD coated from the 90s, I believe, but of course I need to check all of this. A Hamilton Khaki Submariner. So this is an offshoot of their famous field watches, obviously, as you can see, but kind of merged with a classic Submariner style watch. And it is a little bit stiff. It's ratcheted, so it's, I believe it's, oh, it's going now. It does work. Very solid. Let's have a look at the back, because this is another feature that is quite unusual. This was cased in Lancaster, PA, the old factory. 200 meters water resistance. Wow, look at that slenderness. A no holds barred, unapologetically tool-tastic piece of gear. Look at that ginormous lollipop counterbalance. Yeah, it doesn't really hold any charge, so I think it is old tritium. It's just an interesting rabbit hole to go down, and of course if it has any real historical military provenance, we'll find out. But a very cool watch indeed. Obviously being quartz is going to ruffle a few feathers. I have no issue with it. In terms of mid-tier ETAs, for the price, this is incredible. This is the 955 series, which has been used by the likes of Panerai, Omega, Longines, I think. Battery life is insane. I think it's like something like 78 months. I couldn't get a definitive answer. Some speculate even more, some less. Not only that, it's got the end of life indicator. Bit of genius engineering, because what happens is when it starts running low, it will tick every 2 seconds instead of every 1. Therefore, saving and conserving battery life, but also giving the user a warning. So if you are serving for a very long time overseas, this is a great bit of kit. On top of that, you got a wonderful inherent robustness that goes beyond many quartz pieces. But best of all, despite being discontinued in 2019, I think it was, ETA, in a genius move, they brought out a replacement that is exactly the same size, so you can just swap it out, and that is the caliber F06111. So it's still serviceable to this very day. Of course, we get the syringe hands, which are just a wonderful throwback, despite being, rooted in the 30s, for good reason. Incredibly precise, incredibly functional in terms of differentiation in low light, hours from minutes. But the connection with the Special Forces, it does bring a level of authenticity and legitimacy. Even if it wasn't, individually stamped and officially issued, it was an officially, not certified, officially authorized collaboration. Essentially, it's an adaptation of their current field watch of the time, the ardently Vietnam mil-spec based, but with an added 200 meters waterproofing to bring it to a pro diver capability, a slender but functional 60-click unidirectional bezel, and then the 24-hour markings moved from the inside of the main hours to the periphery of the dial, and voila, the Hamilton Khaki Sub was born. Most astonishingly of all, based on the same quartz calibers that the Tag Heuer 1000 and 2000 features. I kid you not. However, Hamilton had one big trick up its sleeve that Tag didn't. With almost a century of manufacturing to their name for the US Armed Forces, it gave them well-deserved access to the then US Department of Defense, and therefore the ears of those who could officially authorize the use of DoD seals, logos, and insignia. I've actually gone through a similar process, but not in the USA, but various European government agencies on watches that I have worked on. It's a very lengthy and arduous process. Fortuitously, the birth of the Khaki Sub coincided with the formation of the 1st Special Forces Operations Command Airborne, a division-level Special Operations Force Command that, despite having roots as far back as World War II, was a newer incarnation founded in 1989. And while not officially issued, Hamilton made an undisclosed amount to celebrate this with a PVD-coated version of the reference 9717, as you see here today. The logo features the prestigious Native American warrior's arrowhead, complete with 3 bolts of lightning to denote air, land and sea, illustrating their ability to strike in any environment, with a centrally placed Fairburn Sky's knife used by the British commandos in World War II that was later adopted by the OSS. Now, the last watch assembled in Lancaster, Pennsylvania was in 1992, which makes sense date-wise. Assembly then switched to Hong Kong, with Swiss-made appearing on the dial, as back then there was a much lower percentage needed to be manufactured there to qualify, compared, interestingly, to today's much higher 60% to be made actually in Switzerland. I gotta say, I love the PVD finish. The fact it's slightly worn off gives it this kind of macho verisimilitude to the proceedings. It's a patina you just can't fake. It brings a kind of like, I've been there, I've seen some kind of quality. I mean, if this was a person, it would have the 1,000-yard stare, you know? Some of the criticism with their modern collaborations, especially the Call of Duty watch, is all you're getting in is an engraving. I think I would have loved to see a Call of Duty or something signed like this that pays homage in the true sense of the word. However, that engraving on the back is just insanely cool. I would love to see something a little bit more like this, or based on this design language, because it's so uniquely Hamilton. I think they did a better job here. The fact it's so slender, just amazing. I think we underestimate quartz, not just in a dress watch sense, but the comfort of having such a slender piece. Something I do love about my aerospace, and that even more so because it's titanium. I totally get why they went for that model. It's the most popular, it's current, a quartz a military watch, despite logically more economical and reliable on a mass scale. I'm glad they went with the automatic Khaki, because the standard field watch, because it's a great gateway for hopefully a whole new generation into the watch hobby, which is so badly needed. And this is, I've talked about this before, what Hamilton are doing, I think speaks to a demographic that is sorely not being, addressed by all the other watchmakers. I mean, who else is doing collaborations this consistently? I almost can't keep up with Hamilton, what they're doing. Subsequently, a civilian version of the 9717 and the later reference 9745 followed, all with quintessentially field watch parkerized satin finishes for around a decade, and were later designated the Khaki 2 in very cool packaging mimicking military equipment. And a shout out to the Italian-Russian Watch Channel for helping here. These later versions sadly lost the loomed numerals, but sensibly moved the 24-hour markings off the central dial and into a newly added chapter ring for a more punctiliously cleaner look. Both design decisions further aligned it with more typical diver design language. They then expanded the range with a myriad of green, blue and white dial versions, several in titanium and some variants in steel. Today, all available on the used market for, pun partially intended I guess, for an absolute steal. Now, despite the popularity in Italy, Europe's most die-hard loyal Hamilton fan base, which is a love affair born from the days of liberation of the country by Hamilton watch-wearing US troops. Elsewhere, it was a flop, and with Hamilton in a transitional phase, not just in ownership, but also in how and where they were being produced, it caused extensive QC issues, as you see here with the printing misalignment. With little or no marketing at all, these highly underrated but rather ahead of their time diver/field hybrids failed to take off.
Anything else that you saw? Were you there for the second hit by the plane?
After about 10 minutes later, the second building went off.
Did you see it?
Yes, I saw it. It just blew up. A big explosion. People started running. It was just chaos everywhere.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center.
Third airliner smashed into the southwest side of the Pentagon building, a mile from downtown Washington.
The last nail in this horological coffin of celebratory collabs with the US military would abruptly end, with world events taking a much darker turn on September the 11th, 2001. With the war on terror, large-scale contracting became a thing of the past, and brands like G-Shock, various other Casios, along with Garmin, Sunto, Luminox and Timex Ironmans became the preferred choices for military personnel and the de facto rulers of martial horology. By the time elements of the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, using Night Stalkers to transport a team of Navy SEALs, raided a compound to ultimately find and whack bin Laden in 2011, the horological world had irrevocably changed.
If you're right, the whole world's gonna win in on this. We'll never find him.
Coincidentally, in a fitting end to this story, the very same film director of Point Break we mentioned earlier, Catherine Bigelow, would direct the movie Zero Dark 30 in 2012, depicting this historic mission. Now, will I keep this? I would love to keep this. I think this would be a great addition to my collection. However, I wasn't in the Special Forces, so for me to wear this, it's veering into kind of stolen honor territory, despite my family's very prestigious military involvement, which I've discussed. Actually, when was the last? I think it was the Merlin video I discussed it. I feel uncomfortable wearing this. I bought it purely because I wanted to learn about it. Sometimes with rare pieces like this, the only way to get a feel for it, to understand the design, to see if it's a legit collaboration is to buy it. So I'll probably sell it on. I'm going to enjoy it in the meantime, obviously, right? But my heart is still set on the Ventura. I think, you know, it's got the design history, it's got the Elvis connection, it's the first electric watch, it's got it all. And they've just released that skeleton one, which is incredibly sexy. They've modernized it in such a cool way. My only trepidation is the size. Okay. But as my Panerai so fantastically demonstrated, don't write things off until you've tried it, you know, because sometimes bigger watches, you can get away with it. Because I gotta have a Hamilton in the collection. This brand is doing too much. They're too important. I've owned so many in the past. It's an important brand to me. While this one will find hopefully the right owner, if there are military collectors out there or someone who actually served, especially in this part of the US military, and they want to honor that, then yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Stay tuned. I will get a Ventura eventually. That skeleton one, I'm in trouble. I am in trouble. All right guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like this video, especially if you want to see more free and truly independent content like this. I'll catch you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Ciao.